C-level is like, let's do this, or CEO, whoever, we're going to do this. This is why it matters. Or we have to think about the office we rented and all of this kind of stuff. All important business
Right.
things to take into consideration. But then it's the people function HR team that says, okay, here's the new policy we have to do. And they probably know, what motivates people. Like, hey, this person really joined us because of the flexibility, or this person is going through these things and it just makes it easier and they're getting the work done. So it makes sense. It's about half, right? And I think that's true.
Hey, it's William Tincup and Ryan Leary. You are listening, hopefully watching the You Should Know podcast. We have Luck on from Leapsome, where we're going to talking about a new report that's dropping. It's Protecting People First Strategies, Leapsome's 2025 HR Insights Report. So, Luck, how you doing today?
Very well. Thank you for having me.
I was going to say we're lucky to have you, and then I'm like, I can't say that because she's probably heard that bit a couple of times. We are fortunate to have you on the show. So we're going to go through some of the key findings and just kind of get your take. You're an HR pro. You've been in HR. How long have you been in HR?
Almost 20 years, William.
Wow.
Long time.
But these
So
are,
you've seen a thing or two.
I was about to say, these are dog years, right? So that's 20 times. Yeah, okay.
I felt like the farmer's commercial. We've seen a thing or two.
Yeah. And some of those things you've seen, you can't talk about.
Exactly.
100%. Statute of limitations hasn't run out on those things.
Tell us your best HR nightmare. No, I'm just kidding. Don't.
No. We did a show like that, actually. Like we did last year, we did a misconduct at work show.
Okay.
And so people would come and sit down. It was at a trade show. And we would do this bit and say, all right, gloves are off, anonymize. We don't want to know the company name. I don't know any of that stuff. What's the worst thing you've had happen at work? And Ryan and I were braced for the results-ish. But when people got on, they went way further than what we thought. Like, and I had some
realized it wasn't on video.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad.
And nothing. Yeah, they were ready to roll.
Wheels.
I can only imagine. Get the popcorn ready, right?
The wheels just because they could anonymize. They were like, you know what? I heard this story about this company and this happened. So that was fantastic. Well, let's talk a little bit about the report, right? Let's talk about some of the key findings.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, look, I'm gonna read this stat to you that we pulled out. I want to get your hot take on it. 92% of HR leaders say they face internal barriers when pushing people first initiatives.
Yep. I would.
Yes.
True.
Check.
92%. That's huge, but I would say that is 100% true. I think whenever you push for kind of people first initiatives, first, we also have to define what that is, but I feel like in general, you often meet with resistance of some kind. Like you need to prove the ROI, you need to prove how this impacts, some other statistic, and we don't have budget right now. Like all of these things are very typical responses to HR people initiatives. So I'm not surprised that is the finding.
Do people see people first as the opposite of company first?
That is a great point, William. I think that's true. I think in a lot of places, I think it's changing, but for a lot of times it's people versus bottom line. When I don't, I think most experienced HR leaders don't think that at all. They are aligned. And when you have both of those aligned, you actually get more productivity, more output. And I think some of the report shows that. But yeah, it's like this binary thing when obviously we know it's not so much a binary world anymore.
It should be congruent. I mean, your people first strategy should be also in line with your company strategy or outcomes, etc. That is
we just
a big
talked
number.
about this.
Yeah,
we just talked on our Sunday show. We just talked about this where it's like people versus the organization.
Yeah.
Why can't we just work? Like I want to come to work with expectations, but I don't want to have to. I don't know. It's a weird dynamic.
Yeah,
the work, right?
Well,
I come to work to work.
The stat was 70% would take a 5% pay cut.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
To not do 5-day RTO.
Yep.
And then I said, Ryan, would you take the pay cut? He's like, It's just, I'm doing the same job. Why would I take a pay cut?
Yeah.
Why can't we just do our jobs and just do
Why
the
can't we just,
jobs in front of us and not have to worry about all that stuff?
I'm doing the same job, same output. Doesn't matter where I'm at.
Yeah.
If you want me to be remote, that's up to you. If you want
Right.
me in the office, that's up to you. It's up to me to take that job, and I'm getting paid the same.
Right.
yeah.
And actually, one of the things we discussed when we were discussing that is 5% pay cut isn't just a 5% pay cut to work remotely, because you're going to get paid less. You're also going to get promoted less. So your career earnings are actually going to track less. Those 70% that said that they would take a 5% pay cut probably haven't factored in the long-term impact.
There's a lot of maths to do when you evaluate these things.
Train leaves El Paso at traveling 75 miles an hour.
That
Winds
4%
coming out of the
compound.
northwest. No, I'm just kidding. I was good at
But I
word
think it's
problems, by the way.
I think it's so interesting though, right? Like, because I mean, it's really about flexibility,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, what do people value? You know, for someone like Ryan, it's like, hey, I'm doing the same thing. But for other people, it's like, hey, it is different because I'm actually saving time on my commute or something like that. So it's sort of like what makes it jive for you? What gets you motivated?
It should be that the algebra should be we solve for thrive.
Yeah.
Where do you,
Love that.
how do you, when do you thrive?
Yeah.
And then whatever that is, it is. And we maximize the value of each employee and all the outputs because the algebra is about thriving, not about some other things that happen at offices.
Absolutely. You should get that on a t-shirt.
Thrive. All righty, let me give you another kind of a key finding. 56% are getting C-level pressure to enforce return to office policies. Dramatic foreshadowing. So we just talked about this. So let's just say 50%. It's a little bit more than that. They're getting pressure from HR to kind of toe the line of we need everybody back in the office.
Yep.
Is that number? I mean, first of all, how do you feel about that?
How do I feel about that? Well, how you stated it is like pressure from HR. I think this is where HR gets a bad rap. I don't think we're the ones pressuring people to come back to work at all.
CEOs are pressuring HR.
Yep.
Yeah.
C-level is like, let's do this. Or CEO, whoever, we're going to do this. This is why it matters. Or we have to think about the office we rented and all of this kind of stuff. All important business things to take into consideration. But then it's the people function HR team that says, okay, here's the new policy we have to do. And they probably know, what motivates people. Like, hey, this person really joined us because of the flexibility, or this person is going through these things and it just makes it easier and they're getting the work done. So it makes sense. It's about half, right? And I think that's true. It checks from folks that I talk to, like some companies and some industries are really pushing for it. And some with valid reason, right? Some like you have to work together and that's how you do things, like in a lab or something like that. But other ones, it's just sort of like the industry's doing it, or like we've got to do what the other company's doing, or hey, we paid for this lease and so we want people to come to the office. They all could be valid, I think, but I think it's like the narrative and the story and the why, like tell people why you want to do it, and it can get some people on board. Like I have a friend who their company is enforcing it sort of, and their HR person is like giving them numbers of what they need to meet, but the numbers don't really check out when you do the math. Like, like it's like, where are you getting this number from? Who's counting which badges? And like, are you
I
taking
don't think
into
the
account
math checks out on a lot of it, actually. I did meet a senior HR leader here in Dallas, and she goes, okay, so what we have is mandatory Wednesdays. You got to be in the office on Wednesdays, but all we're going to do is soft skill development. So we're not going to do anything else. We're going to be doing design charrettes. We're going to be brainstorming. Like there's not work going to be being done. You can do that at home in the other 4 days, but on Wednesdays, because we've got a younger population that, is used to using devices and not necessarily making eye contact, not necessarily doing some of the things that we need done in the company, and they don't know how to do it. So how do we teach them? Well, we could force them to come back in the office, and then hope that they learn it, or we can actually organize a way to learn it. Which I love that when she was talking about it, she was excited about the prospect of, okay, we can have all 5 generations, 6 generations at work, but we're not working.
Yes.
The goal is to not
Yeah.
work. The goal is to do all these other types of things with the executives and getting to know each other and all this other soft
I
skill
love that.
development. Yeah. Now, when I hear stuff like that, again, that's not a 5-day RTO. However, I love the fact that you can see that they've really thought it through.
Absolutely.
They're appeasing both sides, but they're evolving and adapting to the work. And the fact that you can put 4 or 5 generations in the office, there's a communication gap, right?
100%.
We've talked about this a ton. There's a communication gap across all of those generations. They don't know how to talk or work with each other. It's very different. Now they get to be there. Now, how do you do that where it doesn't affect work midweek? Right. You're kind of now you're resetting almost. That's why I don't like the hump day deal, because Monday, Tuesday you work, you strive, you feel good. I got the Wednesday. I'm gonna go to the office. I don't have work today. Thursday, Friday, I got to reset. I'm already at the weekend. So it breaks up the work week. But where does that leave productivity?
I know. I found that fascinating as a way
I think it's great. But you
bridge the
highlight
gap.
something that I think is really important, and it's like work by design, right? Like not just like some tired like adage that hey, everyone's got to go to the office, but it's like they're designing it in a way where it's like it seems like people coming together to have these meaningful moments is really important and core to the culture. And the narrative that they want is the storyline that hooks people in, right? Like you have to have a purpose. And so I think that's really great. And I think that's what HR leaders really want to do, is get this like kind of designed approach, not just like, okay, here's our new policy. Let HR be your police officer.
It reminds me. I didn't work in restaurants that much. I did one night at a restaurant. No, we can't talk about that story. But
it didn't last very long.
I did well. No, I was thrown into it because all the waitresses had quit on a Friday, and so I was thrown into it because a friend of mine was there and a bartender. But anyhow, it reminds me of pushing the specials. You know what happens in restaurants, like whatever. Like
I never get the specials.
Push the salmon.
Old food.
Push the salmon. Everyone push the salmon. It reminds me though, like the C-suite's like push RTO. It's like but I need some intentionality behind this. I need like why? What's the why? And how do I get the why for everyone else to be congruent and understand? Like, there's a reason we're doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't work.
I'm not buying the salmon. Sorry.
Nobody's buying it.
No one's buying salmon. I'm running from the salmon.
I love salmon.
I do too. A little lemon butter, done. But no, I'm running from any specials. In fact, it used to make me angry when people would come up and just assume I wanted to hear their specials. Like I had this whole bit, this comedy bit about, if I want to know your specials, I'll ask you about the specials. Don't just come up and assume I want to know about your specials.
Is it? Let me ask you. Is it weird though, looking at your waiter or waitress? I always have a problem when I'm ordering. I have to look at the menu.
No.
I feel like they're just staring through me. It's
right.
Very weird.
So anyhow, Ryan.
All right. I've got another stat for you. So, all right.
Optimize your business with a Workforce AI Edge powered by Vizier. Make smarter decisions and achieve better outcomes with real-time AI insights delivered to every people leader. Explore more at visier.com.
79% agree that letting employees choose where they work is actually better for productivity.
Yes. 79, 80%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basic, right?
Who doesn't think that?
Yeah.
Who's the other 20%?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's when I look at a number like that, I think about who didn't say yes to that.
Yes.
Did they not understand the question?
Those are the bad managers that people leave companies for.
I think you're right. Actually, I think you're onto something. Yeah. I think you're onto the C-suite answered that, and they want people back. So they said productivity's here, period, end of story. And I think it's bad managers, because I think bad managers, they want to lord over you.
Yes.
And that's the only way they know that productivity can be done is they have to see you do it.
I think that I also think there's still, it's so interesting, these questions in the current like environment, right? Because we've all just gone through the COVID, we've all just gone through all of these things where everyone knows that these are options now. It's not like, but pre-COVID, when working from home was sort of a nicety, like a very nice to have benefit. Everyone has done this, right? So to ask this question in this current environment where people are still like, no, you have to come to the office. I'm like, well, The data doesn't show that.
Didn't we just do this for like 3
Yeah.
years? I don't know.
Yeah. Now that said, I have said, and I've got to own up to it because I'm on the record saying it. If I apply for a job and it's in the office,
Right.
I have the choice whether or not to take it or not.
100%.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make the employer bad.
Yeah.
It's your decision, right? And so many people complain like, I have a job now. They want me back. Well, when you applied for the job,
It was in the office.
it was in the office.
Yeah.
We had a moment in time,
Mhm.
and now they want you. So you have a decision: take the job or don't take
Agreed.
the job.
Yep.
Well, and some of
yeah.
those during COVID, they were remote for forever.
Forever,
So they marketed them as remote forever. I haven't seen a lot of people come back from that. Like, okay, it's not remote forever. We were, we were just kidding.
Yeah.
I haven't seen folks do that. I've seen more of the people that it wasn't stated. To your point, Ryan, when you originally got the job, it was in the office.
Yeah,
we had to do remote because of a pandemic. Pandemic's gone. Get back in the office.
Yeah. I think Spotify was one of the companies where they said, we don't need to see our people or something like that. Like they went and had a funny thing about it.
Oh, yeah.
We treat our people like adults.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
That was the bit.
Yep.
It was just like, we trust our employees.
We do.
They're adults.
I used to work at Spotify way back in the day.
Oh, did you?
No
Nice.
way.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
There
All right,
you
let me
go.
give you, we got 2 more, but let me give you the fourth one. 58% say RTO is bad for employees with disabilities.
Yes. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I would say yes, and 58%. So I think more than half, right? And I think one of the things about flexibility and working from anywhere is that you give more people more options. Like for a lot of folks, and I know DEI is one of these things that comes on the chopping block, but this inclusion factor of it, like, hey, just because I need to, some people need to work in a specific environment. Some people can't like commute back and forth because of health reasons or whatever. Giving the flexibility allows people to do that. So I do think it will hinder some folks. And, there's been studies that said like women and people, have a harder time if they're the caretaker of older generation, children, whatever. So it just makes things harder, especially because, again, we've already gone through it. And so here we are on the other side of it. And so people have experienced it now. It's not as simple as just being like, nope, like this is the status quo.
When I smell that number, it seems that number should be higher.
Yeah.
If people really understand employees with disabilities, like if you ever work with somebody that's deaf or blind or, like any of those things, right? Go through the whole list. If you've worked with people like that, I can't help but think that you have empathy for folks that they have to do the job. Yeah. They're doing the job, same job, but they're doing it with a loaded responsibility of a disability on top of them. Why make them work a certain way? Just it seems it almost it's not seems vulgar. It almost seems harsh. So when I look at 58, I'm like, that says to me that a lot of people haven't worked with people that haven't worked with disabilities
that they know of, right? That they don't know.
Great point.
Or it's it's a lot of.
That's a really great point.
A lot of old school thought.
Yeah.
Of this is how work was. This is how it is. It hasn't really evolved other than that moment in time. So I think we're still experiencing a lot of that. We still have a lot of the older generation, call it like our parents,
Are you talking mostly about men?
No, just overall.
I would actually, because coming out of the war and military industrial complex, it was all men.
I just think it's that this is how work was in the workplace. It was you came here and they're just not ready to change. But that which we already know these numbers, they're already dying off and retiring and all that. So this is going to change. There will be a full-fledged change. I mean, we're seeing it now. I don't think it's much longer.
I think Luck made a really important part in terms of visible versus not visible.
Absolutely.
People that are going through learning differences, dyslexia or whatever, you might not know. I mean, they might not ever talk about it. You might not know. And all of a sudden now we're asking them to do something that's going to be more challenging in front of people instead of at their house when they can kind of work through things in a different way.
Yeah.
The
So
world has changed, right? Like a lot of young people, they've just learned online. And a lot of the folks that are coming into the workforce or just came, they had college during COVID. Like they don't know how to interact, like in some cases,
100%.
like you were saying,
Yeah.
Wednesdays come to the office to learn these soft skills. Like there's a lot of folks that don't have that. It doesn't mean that they can't learn them, but
No,
it
you learn
presents a
It's
trauma
it's
potentially, like
very different.
100%.
interacting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My youngest, like my youngest is she'll be 11 next week. She like her first couple years was COVID.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she was at home all
Yeah.
the time. She never experienced a classroom up until a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So the adjustment there, and it never registered. I mean, it did, but it didn't. It's kind of like they just go to school. Like you're good.
Why
Good
are we
job.
talking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we
Oh,
talking about here?
Get on the
Yeah.
bus.
But it was like she never had it.
Sorry.
She never had it. Like
yeah.
it was just one of those things, and
Such
it
a
took a while.
formative time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
It
how do
took
you
a while
play?
to
How do you
adjust.
play with people?
Yeah.
Well,
I noticed quickly I was not as good as the teachers.
Well, oh yeah, no, it's horrible. The analogy of kids going through COVID and adults going through RTO, there's a lot of parallels.
Yeah.
Because we assumed that it was going to be a certain way, and all of a sudden to discover we can still be really super productive. We don't have to be productive in the way that we used to be. And teaching, learning, doesn't have to be done in the way that it was done.
Yeah.
So like educators, they had to learn a bunch during that period, and like to go back and to teach like it was 2019. Why?
Yeah.
Why would you? There was nothing great about 2019. Why would you do that? Like, why wouldn't you learn? Why are we using the same containers of 2019? Some random year that wasn't that great. Why are we using those? I think that translates to a lot of things in HR. Can translate to a lot of
For
things
sure.
in HR.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. 1 in 3 HR leaders are already bracing for DEI budget cuts.
Yes.
There's a
I would
theme
think
here.
it'd be more.
I was about to
I
say.
think it'd be 100%.
I was about to say that's a 3 of 3.
Yeah.
I know this is a global study, so I think this is part of it. But yeah, I mean, there's just if you're in America right now, this is the hot topic. No matter where you stand on the divide, you're not supposed to call it that. There are boycotts. There's there's all these things, right? Which is a shame, I think, because everything we were just talking about, just including people, doesn't mean you have to have a hard line around something. It's more about like being more productive, creating better outcomes, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I would think even more people.
I think it's positioned in America. Again, 1 in 3 in America makes sense. 1 in 3 in the world makes sense. 1 in 3 in America doesn't. It's much higher because of the political pressure. And I think the reason is because it's been pitched as a zero-sum game. You include somebody, it means you exclude somebody, which is not true. You're just making a bigger tent. And so I think for me, I look at it as we made great strides, and whether or not we did or didn't, it appeared that we were making great strides from some of the social movements, Me Too, Love is Love, Black Lives Matter, etc. We were making strides, and it's going to really fully realize the impact of this retread for years. Because at one point the pendulum will move back and people will be like, okay, we need to get back to actually thinking about how do we include everyone.
Never. Yeah.
That's never been the bit. That's just white men being afraid of losing power is really ultimately what that translates to for me.
I am not a white male, but
I didn't say it at the Holiday Inn Express last night.
I just think it's such, all these strides, because I remember growing up and feeling, the racial slurs and stuff that were thrown at me, my brother, my family. And we got so far ahead, and I have mixed race kids now, and I'm just like, oh, really? Where are we going back to? Because they've experienced a different world. Again, it's like you can't close the box, right?
Nope.
Like we've experienced remote work. We've experienced people of different cultures and backgrounds, different disabilities that you can see or not see, and everything's okay. Like, and then now you're supposed to shove it back inside into some other categories. And I think that's the part that makes things a little bit hard to swallow, as a parent and also as someone who cares about, like, young folks coming into the workforce that have experienced like this different kind of world where they weren't just made fun of because of what their eyes look like or how they sound or the religion that they practice. So it's a hard thing that my mom friends and I talk about.
Oh, 100%. I think it's the back channel right now of TA and HR talking to each other like, how do we sell this? Because the prospects, or excuse me, the candidates, they want this. By and large, they want employers that have these types of policies. They have these types of programs. They're spending this type of money, etc. We want this. And companies they're hiding behind all kinds of stuff. Our customers don't care. You know, like Ryan and we've pretty much made fun of everyone that kind of like you're eliminating DEI because of what, really? It's some people, they never believed in it. They just got on the bandwagon. It's like people that colorize their logo during Pride Month or June. They didn't really care. Felt the pressure of we need to rainbowize our logo so that we look like we care. And now they've got cover to then still not care. And so it's disheartening. I hate to end on a bum note like that, but the report that's coming out from y'all from Leapsome, it's chock full. We just took out 5 stats randomly. So chock full with all kinds of good stuff. So thank you and your team for putting this together. And thank you for coming on and giving us your opinion on some of the stats.
This was so great, Ryan and William. So nice to hang out with you and such great conversation. I'm going to have to test out your bits of going to the bar and to the restaurant.
Let us know how that works.
I got no, the martini thing is genius. I mean, even if you don't do martinis, you like Russian, different types of drinks.
Yeah.
You can do it with anything.
Love it.
I mean, a friend of mine did it with craft beer. Same thing.
Amazing. Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter.
Love the discussion and appreciate you all having us on.
And thanks for the audience for listening. Until next time.